I'm an optimist that I think we'll get a good deal. Why? First of all, because Theresa May, unlike David Cameron, is prepared to walk away and if she's not given a good deal at all. David Cameron absurdly ended up in a position where he was willing to have a deal at any price and therefore got a very bad deal. Theresa May, I think, is genuine in her commitment to only signing up if she thinks the terms are good enough. Secondly, she's genuinely not fearful of walking away with no deal because she understands that actually WTO terms are pretty attractive. WTO terms are not about crashing out of the EU onto WTO terms. WTO terms are actually created to stop isolation and protectionism and to facilitate the free exchange of goods and services. Now, some people say that there are insurmountable obstacles to all of this, and they like to talk about migration as one of them. And I speak as UKIP's only Member of Parliament. I actually think a fairly straightforward situation with migration is attainable. Why? Free movement of people is going to come to an end before April 2019. But that doesn't mean you can't have the free movement of workers. If the United Kingdom hadn't been in the European Union for the past 40 years, it's inconceivable that British companies would be unable to hire workers that they wanted to from EU member states. I think we will end up with a situation where if a British company or university or employer is willing to pay someone a sufficient salary that precludes them from claiming any in-work benefits, they'll be able to work in the UK as they are today. Now, I think there will be a deal on goods and services, and HMG, Her Majesty's government, is keen on this. Why am I optimistic that we'll get one? Well, there are no restrictions at the moment. And unless you know someone who wants to impose restrictions at 1 minute past midnight after we've left, I think the status quo will largely prevail. Now, when we negotiate on goods, we'll be negotiating with a single entity, the EU. When we negotiate with services, it'll be with 27. That's why I think there will be a parallel deal on both goods and services. There will be some contentious issues. You may have heard people saying that there will be a Brexit bill of 20 billion euros, or 40 billion, or 60 billion. Well, hold on a second. The reality is that the United Kingdom is not under any obligation to pay any of that. But we want to act in good faith. We want to be good neighbours. This is not a divorce settlement with a zero-sum game at stake. It's about making sure that we get on afterwards. And if we are willing to act in good faith, if others are willing to act in good faith. No, we're not going to sign up to a sort of cash-for-access mercantilist deal that George III may have approved of. But we may well be prepared if, for example, roads are being built in Spain, when the bill comes in for those in a few years down the track, to pay our share. We're willing to act in good faith if others are. We're going to need to continue to cooperate. During the referendum, I was struck by the importance of the Erasmus programme for students, the Horizon 2020 research programme. Those things can and must continue. You don't need to be in the EU to have that international cooperation. It's all the more important that we broaden it. Defence and security. People in Antwerp today or London yesterday, they know the importance of international cooperation in the fight against terror. There are British troops this week stationed on the border of Estonia to safeguard the sovereignty of Estonia. We retain those commitments to defence and security to our Western allies.